a few more minutes to bathe in those beautiful energies set by Kryon. And gently bring your awareness back into your body. Bring your awareness back into the room. And I invite you to be fully present in this moment, because Lee and I are so excited for our next guest to be joining us. Alberto Velodo is our next guest. And Alberto, are you there?
I'm here, Monica. Good to be with you and Lee.
Wonderful. Well, let's tell everyone about Alberto.
Yeah, I don't want to chat much more. I just want to get right into this. And this is just a giant of a guy, and I mean by that, the consciousness is very high, and I've been looking forward to not only meeting him here, but also to having him on the show. Medical anthropologist Alberto Villoldo has studied the shamanic healing practice of the Amazon and the Andes for more than 25 years. He's the founder of the Four Winds Society, which trains modern shamans in the practice of energy medicine. He directs the Center for Energy Medicine in Chile, where he investigates and practices the neuroscience of enlightenment.
Now, in his mid-20s, Alberto was the youngest clinical professor at San Francisco State University. I mean, Lee, a professor.
In the mid-20s, yeah.
In his mid-20s.
Right.
My professors were not in their mid-20s
no, mine
when I was at university. Anyway, he directed the Biological Self-Regulation Lab to investigate how energy medicine, it changes the chemistry of the brain. And he had heard stories about people in remote parts of the Amazon who claimed to know such things. Recognizing that this investigation would not be a part-time pursuit or even a brief sabbatical, Alberto resigned his post at the university and traded his lab coat for his hiking boots and a ticket to the rainforest, a man after my own heart.
Sounds like you.
Yes.
Scattered throughout the remnants of the ancient Inca Empire were a number of sages or earth keepers who practiced the ancient healing methods. Alberto visited countless villages, met with scores of medicine men and women. For more than 10 years, he trained with the jungle shamans. Along the way, he discovered that his journey had been guided by his personal desire to become whole. He learned to transform old pain, grief, anger, and shame into sources of strength and compassion. Alberto, you are in the right place at the right time for our audience. Thank you so much, my friend, for being here. I just want to turn this over to you and have you do whatever you'd like to for these next moments.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much, Monica, for having me here. And let me tell you a little bit about how I got to the Amazon, because I was at San Francisco State University and I had my own lab, and we were trying to see if we could create psychosomatic health. We knew we could create psychosomatic disease, but could you create psychosomatic health? And my lab was in the brain section in biology department. So I was surrounded by 200 brains in formaldehyde. And we were looking at the brain. What is the role does the brain part play in creating health? And I realized that I could not find that out in the laboratory. And particularly with Western science, that had to kill it before you could study it. That we were slicing and dicing the brain and staining it and looking at pathways. And so I shut down my lab. I got a research grant, actually, from big pharma, big Swiss pharma. They wanted to discover the next breakthrough cancer cure or dementia cure or heart disease cure. And the Amazon is nature's pharmacy. And as a medical anthropologist, I had the credentials for doing that. So I went into the Amazon, into backwater villages that had never seen a light-skinned person before. In fact, the kids would come running to me and they'd kind of rub my hands and arms to see if the white dirt would rub off. And after many, many months in the Amazon, I met my sponsors and I came back empty handed. There was no herbs, no plants, and because these people had no heart disease, they had no Alzheimer's, they had no dementia, they had no cancer. These are the illnesses of the West. This is what we have created in Western society and civilization. But they knew how to prevent these conditions. And that really fascinated me because today we don't know how to treat cancer or heart disease or cancer. We cut it, burn it, or kill it. It doesn't work. Alzheimer's, we spent over $1 billion on research to try to cure Alzheimer's. And the statistics are terrible. If you live to be 85 years old, and we will, all of us watching this will, you have a 50% risk of having diagnosable Alzheimer's. This doesn't mean forgetting where you left your car keys. It means forgetting your children's names. This is terrifying. But these Amazonian shamans knew how to prevent it. They practiced prevention, and they did that by working with the human energy field, with the aura, what we call the aura, which is in reality an information field that surrounds the physical body and organizes the physical body in the same way that a magnet organizes iron filings on a piece of glass. And in the West, we're fascinated with cutting the body and moving the pieces around, whereas the shamans were interested in clearing the imprints for disease from the energy field. And how I first learned about it was actually not in the Amazon, but in Haiti. Because the foundation that was sponsoring my research called me up and they said, Alberto, we're doing a study on voodoo in Haiti. And we need an anthropologist, a junior anthropologist. The other one got sick, and we're almost done with the study. And I said, I don't know anything about Haiti or about voodoo. My expertise is the Amazon. And they said, yes, we know. We're reviewing your grant proposal this very moment. And I said, when do you need me in Haiti? The following week, I was in Port-au-Prince in Haiti, where there was a lot of voodoo. And voodoo is actually an ancient healing practice from Africa, but that you can use to harm as well as to heal. In fact, all healing practices can be used, prayer can be used to kill someone or to heal someone. The difference, of course, is only the ethics and the intent of the practitioner. So I remember talking to this old voodoo priest, and I said, how do you hurt someone? How do you go and you punch them in the head? He said, nah, when we need to retaliate against someone, what we do is we take our rattle and we call on their spirit to come, and we look at their spirit, we look at their energy field, and we find out where that gray areas in the field are. And we go, maybe this is heart disease that runs in the family. And we put a little bit of energy into that imprint, and it wakes up. And it's like double clicking on a program in your computer. It takes over your screen. And 2 weeks later, that person will have heart disease. Or if you have breast cancer running in the family, they'll develop breast cancer. You'll activate the dormant deceased genes that we inherited from our family. And I go, wow, that is really nasty. And what about healing? How do you heal someone? And they said, it's the same way. We call on their spirit, we look at their field, and we find the stale chi, the stale energy. And we pull that energy out. We clear it from the blueprint. This is my language now. We clear it from the blueprint before it has to be processed through the body. And I go, wow, how elegant, how absolutely elegant. So here, these men and women that we consider primitive in Haiti and around the world, in sub-Saharan Africa, in the Himalayas, the Native Americans, they were working with the quantum field, what we call in physics the quantum field. They were interacting with it directly and upgrading the information that's in the blueprint of the body. And when you upgrade the blueprint, the body is upgraded. So they practice healing, not by healing disease. In fact, for the shamans, diseases do not exist. Sick people exist, but illnesses do not exist. And the practice of healing consists of creating the conditions for health. Create the conditions for health, and disease goes away. You don't need to treat illness, which is what we do in the West. In the West, in America and Europe, we don't have a healthcare system. We have a disease care system, and we treat illnesses. Shamans don't do that. They create the physical conditions for health, your nutrition, your diet, the supplements, the nutrients that you're missing. Depleted soils is a big problem today in the world. Emotional health, you have to clear the imprints for toxic emotions that we have in our field. That person that you haven't forgiven for 20 years, that's a toxic imprint in the energy field. That if you have a weakness, a genetic weakness, will manifest as an illness that runs in your family that we consider hereditary. In fact, the shamans consider toxic emotions, trauma, toxic emotions as the source of all physical maladies. You've got to heal the toxic emotions. You create the conditions for health spiritually. You've got to be on a spiritual path. It's essential. You've got to be in a sacred journey, not just to accumulate wealth or fame or fortune or heal your mommy or daddy issues. You've got to be in a sacred mission to bring a little more beauty to the planet, to be of service in some way. So this was the shamanic practice. And I said, that's so much healthier than what we do in the West, where we think that the illness is the problem. We treat the symptom. We don't treat the cause in the West. And whereas the shamans were treating the cause. And they were saying the cause is not only your diet, the cause is your energy field. It's your unhealed emotions. It's your early life trauma or what you bring with you from former lifetimes. And they knew not only how to describe it, they knew how to intervene directly to remove these toxic imprints. And they call this the illumination process. And this is what I teach my students today, is how do you illuminate your field, upgrade the quality of the energy field? How do you download version 2.0 of the human software? And you download it into the field that then goes about the process of healing the body as the first step to later growing a new body that ages differently and that heals differently and that dies differently and that perhaps doesn't even have to die. And this is occurring at a really fascinating time in history when the indigenous peoples from around the world, the native keepers of the prophecies, the earth keepers, say that we have come to the end of humanity, of the humanity that we have known until today. And that today a new human is being born in the earth at this time of climate crisis, of ecological crisis. Now, the interesting thing about these times of crisis is that evolution changes. Mother Nature doesn't work with Newtonian laws of evolution any longer, which are the normal laws, the customary laws, which are slow, incremental change. Mother Nature now takes the foot off of the brake and steps on the accelerator, and evolution begins to follow the laws of quantum physics, quantum leaping, so that evolution no longer happens in between generations with our children and their children. It happens within generations. With you and I, that we can take a quantum leap to become that new human. Now, I was trained in science originally, so I always bring it back to the laboratory. And I understood that every 7 years, we grow a new body anyway, that your skin cells die and are replaced every 5 or 6 days, that the lining in your gut every 3 days, your lung lining is every week, even your bones every 7 years, you change every molecule in your body. You get an entirely new body. And you can either get a new body that's a slightly more wrinkled and older version of the one you have now, or you can become the new human at this time, this critical time in the history of humanity and of the world. But we have to upgrade the quality of the information in the field. And then we have to do ceremony. We have to do ceremony because we need to change our minds. Now, I understood from studying brain science that the ancient brain, our most primitive Neanderthal brain, that's called the limbic brain that we all have, that's the brain that lives in scarcity, it lives in anger, it lives in fear, it has PTSD, it doesn't get enough of anything, enough love or enough money or enough time. This ancient brain only changes through ceremony. And that's why we have ceremonies in every culture in the world. So you need to create a sacred ceremony for yourself, one that comes from you, not repeating what someone else has done. So this brain needs a ceremony. We do a lot of fire ceremonies with candles, where you can blow into a stick or a piece of paper that which you are willing to let go of, and you put it in the fire. And that helps the brain to change so you can then change your mind. Otherwise, we're still stuck in the old paradigms and the old belief structures. We're not able to change them because they are operating actually as neural networks in this very ancient limbic brain that we all have. So this is a time of such amazing opportunity where we can bring together the ancient wisdom, the millenary wisdom of the shamans, the medicine men and women, and modern science, modern Western science. Modern science is descriptive, describes how things happen. The shamanic wisdom is participatory. It allows you to engage these processes. You don't only describe the quantum field, you're able to dance in it and change it and take on the creator role that we have to help to dream the world into being. So when I was in the Amazon, this old medicine woman comes to me and says, Alberto, we have to heal you. And I said, you have to heal me? Why? What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with me. She said, no, we have to heal your ignorance. And I go, what do you mean heal your ignorance? And it's Dr. Alberto, by the way.
Yes.
What do you mean heal my ignorance? She says, yeah, you have a lot of information, but very little wisdom. And then she went on to explain that information is knowing that water is H2O. Wisdom is being able to make it rain. Information is having a diagnosis. Wisdom is being able to heal. In our Western science, it's very descriptive, but it doesn't let us engage and interact with the forces of nature. It doesn't, for example, one of the laws of physics is called the law of entropy. And entropy is a law that says that everything is breaking down. Your house is breaking down, your car is breaking down, your relationship can be breaking down. You've got to be repairing it all the time. This is that law that says that you can go from a glass of milk in the glass, to milk on the floor, but you can't go backwards. You can't go back to milk in the glass. So the shaman said, yeah, you don't need to go to Harvard to understand this. You just need to have children, right? Everything is moving towards chaos. So the shaman said, yeah, we observed that. But the other side of that law, and they said this law is what we call jaguar, the jaguar principle, like this ancient jaguar that I have here. Jaguar is the chaotic, destructive force. But the other side of that law, that's also jaguar, is that life defies entropy. The physical universe is going to hell all the time, and we need to keep repairing it. But the biological world seeks complexity. You have cells that team up with other cells to create organs. that team up with other organs to create eagles. It's extraordinary. Life seeks complexity, and that's the life principle. And we call that jaguar also, the life death principle. And the difference being that the shamans can go, mother, sister, jaguar, come to me. Come and bring a little bit of renewal and healing to this person that I'm helping. Or come and bring life to this person that's so ready to be reborn. And they can enlist this force of nature. And jaguar will show up. Whereas the physicists can go, second law of thermodynamics, come to me, because nothing's going to come. It's only descriptive, whereas the shamans could not describe it, but they could do it. And one time I was saying to an old medicine man that became my teacher for many years, I was explaining to him chaos theory from physics. And chaos theory is that theory that butterfly that flapped its wings in Beijing started a tropical storm in the Caribbean. And which is a law that explains how we're all interconnected, chaos theory. And the old man turns to me and he says, show me. And I go, what do you mean show you? This is physics, quantum physics. He says, no, if you can talk about it, it's because you can do it, right? I had a brand new PhD. And he said, come on, flap your little doctor wings and heal somebody in India. And I said, I can't do that. He said, I can. Because these are feminine traditions. They're earth-based traditions. They're traditions of wisdom, not of information, not accumulating facts, but accumulating power so you can be of service and you can co-create. And this becomes the central tenet of the shamanic traditions, dreaming the world into being, co-creation. And it comes from our story of creation itself. Because in the West, we were kicked out of the Garden of Paradise, the Garden of Eden. And we're the only people in the planet ever to have been kicked out of the garden. Nobody else was kicked out of the garden. The Aborigines, the Native Americans, they were given the garden to be the stewards and the caretakers of the garden, the earth keepers. Whereas the shamanic mythology says, I've created, the Great Spirit said, on the seventh day, I've created the whales and the eagles and the butterflies. Aren't they beautiful? And now you finish it. Creation is not complete. For us, in the West, on the seventh day, all that was left was the naming of the plants and the animals. For the shamanic societies, the Aboriginal societies, creation is not complete. Our task is to complete creation. It's what the shamans call dreaming your world into being, to co-create with spirit. And this is the difference between the shamanic traditions and the religious traditions. Because religion is about the creator, whereas for the shamans, it's about creation and creating. It's not making offerings to appease the creator or asking for this or forgiveness from. No, it's about knowing that spirit is within you. You're not separate from. And our task is to create and become stewards of the creation, become earth keepers. And to me, this is an ancient wisdom that is becoming so relevant today, so important.
Alberto,
in the world that we're living.
I'm absolutely riveted because this is what we teach. And I'm just listening and going, yes, 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 I want to take notes, all these things. I don't want to run out of time. I know you have, did you want to do a little ceremony or something here to
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping that we could do that we have time for that.
We do. We have 5 minutes left or maybe a little more, and we can do that, and then that we can end with that, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we can become earth keepers, we have to awaken the higher order neural networks in the brain. And we cannot do that if our brain is on fight or flight. If we are stressed out or we're fearful, we need to be able to practice stillness. This is what meditation is about, to reset that fight or flight system so that our world can become safe. And we're now no longer looking suspiciously at the world, but we can then step up to the higher order neural networks in the brain where we can become co-creators. So I'd like to take us through a meditation where we can begin to reset the fear system, the fight or flight system that produces the stress hormones in the brain. So it's a drumming meditation, and I'm going to ask you to inhale to a count of 4 and exhale to a count of 6. Inhaling to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding to 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exhaling to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, inhaling to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, exhaling to 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, inhaling to 4, holding to 6, exhaling to 6, inhaling to 4, 3, 4, holding to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling to 6. Inhaling to 4. Holding to 6. Exhaling to 6. Inhaling to 4. Holding to 6. Exhaling to 6. Inhaling to 4. Holding to 6. Exhaling to 6. Inhaling to 4. Holding to 6 softly. Exhaling to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling to 4. Holding to 6. Exhaling to 6. And deep breath. And exhale. Normally, we breathe between 12 and 15 times a minute. This is the stressful breath that creates psychosomatic disease. Now we were breathing 3 times a minute. And eventually you can inhale to 4, hold to 6, exhale to 6, and hold empty to 6. And then you'll be breathing twice a minute. And your whole system will slow down, your world will slow down, and you'll be able to dream your world into being with beauty and with grace. Thank you so much, Lee and Monica.
Awesome.
That was incredible. Thank you for being part of our dreaming into being. If you enjoyed Alberto, please visit the4wins.com. That's the website, the4wins.com. You will find loads of information on that website. newsletters, free things, courses you can sign up for. And how blessed were we, Lee,
That
to
was
be able
great.
to have that.
It's really good.
Deepest love and thanks to you,
Yes.
Alberto.
I don't want to leave.
Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful work you do and blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so now we are going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll see you for the Circle of 12.